So just looking over the numbers from Season 1 versus Season 2, and we're seeing a little bit of a spike with certain demographics, and I don't know, I was just thinking that perhaps maybe we can sort of hone in and sort of really focus in on some of these.
What the fuck are you guys doing?
Oh, Stakeholder Farley, how are you doing?
Cut
What's
that
happening?
shit. We've just got the numbers in from the quarterly reports, and you two clowns and all these other fuckers in here, you're running this business into the ground. I'll tell you that.
Into the ground?
Yeah.
How are we doing such things?
Look at this. This shows the Pokemon and Resident Evil content of the podcast. You've hardly mentioned Pokemon at all this quarter, and we know that that's what people like.
Well, we do have some Pokemon content. You know, we've just been...
What do you call this? What do you call this, Ben fucking Nevis in the middle of the graph? We call that World of Warcraft shite. Do you know what our stakeholders and our listeners and the people who pay your fucking wages, do you know what they like?
Warcraft?
Not WoW shite.
Right. Okay.
So either you two and all your other little buddies, that useless prick out there, that guy who does the photocop toner or maybe sits on the front desk, you need to fix this shit yesterday.
Loud and clear. We're on it. We are on it, Stakeholder Farley.
And what's the name of the website?
It's www.thatguys.co.uk, or That Guy's Maniac is the actual name of it. Also, you could check us out on the socials at That Guy's Maniac, all one word, lowercase.
Great. So you can clear the rest of your day because you don't need to do this bullshit. Just get out there and make some more Pokemon episodes. You don't want me to come down here ever again because I'll fuck you and I'll fuck you. And it'll be the last time either of you get fucked anywhere, particularly in this building. Now fuck off and do the Pokemon episode.
Well, Office Farley, that was a bit of a scene, wasn't it?
I mean, I had some really good ideas for this episode, but
I guess we'll have to do some shitty Pokemon thing.
yeah, I was going to do some crowdsource thing for the orphans, but
Yeah, I know, like, you know, proper announcements and news and actual sections and clarification, and maybe even workshop a proper idea for the office bit.
I know, and that Make-A-Wish kid who always wanted to come and be on the podcast, I don't think he'll make it for the next one.
All right.
So,
Well, we don't want to get fucked by Stakeholder Farley.
No.
So, yeah, let's... is there anything new in the Pokemon world?
I guess that new game's coming out, right?
Oh, yeah. Let's get the guys onto that one.
Okay. You're a little bit turned on, Jacob.
Well, I mean, I'm still rocking a massive boner, and as you can see, I'm masturbating right now. I mean, give me a hand, man.
No, sexual harassment, Office Richie.
Yeah, so let's talk about a kid's computer game
Let's
now.
talk about a game recommended by Peggy for the 5s and up.
Yeah.
If you're just joining this podcast, it's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Pokemon Legends Arceus is coming out soon.
Extremely soon.
So, and your timeline, our timeline, it was Friday the 28th.
On all timelines.
All timelines. Except for all those people who got the leaked version about 2 weeks ago.
Well, supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, are you excited about Pokemon Arceus?
Okay. Readers, you may have picked up that we just learned how to pronounce Arceus.
I've
So
been
we're
calling
saying-
it Arceus
have
for
I.
a long time.
Yeah. For the
Yeah.
Pokédex 3D Pro app told us the true pronunciation. So, if you're not aware, and you might not be because we don't tend to cover Pokemon very much on this podcast, there's a new Pokemon game coming out, 20th of January, as Richard mentioned, and it is called Pokemon Arceus Legends. And what's exciting about this is it looks to be doing something a little bit different. So all the kind of mainline Pokemon games, I think up until this point, all the ones named after colours and shapes and celestial bodies, although they've kind of varied within their specifics, are kind of doing the same thing. And then
yeah, I mean, I think the dividing line, or at least what we've seen from the trailers, is every other game has pretty much been a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
But looking at the trailers and actually released materials, not the leaks, you see that it's actually sort of real-time dodging, and you sort of try and use your Pokemon to whittle down, as opposed to in a turn-based battle, whittle down the health in that fashion. So you're sort of chucking things at the characters that are like, for instance, there was something, I think it was it Jews they were talking about.
What?
DEW.
Jews?
I spelled it for a very good reason. Let's not dwell.
But also, what do you mean?
Jews.
Yeah, I know the word, but
yeah,
how would you have a Jew?
Well, that was one of the things in the latest trailer. You can throw types of dews at the enemies, and it exposes weaknesses, and then you can set your Pokemon in to whittle down its health. A stagger mechanic.
Do you mean bomb? Is that what you mean?
Was it bomb?
Yeah.
I definitely... Okay, in my head it was a dew. I don't know why.
I don't know what dew... Like collected from wet grass dew?
Yeah, or I'm guessing different plants. I suppose all dew is just water. But yeah...
No.
No. I thought it... In my head, immediately it was dew. Sorry, this is very, very boring and probably quite insightful into my head. My head, it was like, oh, you collect dew from the different plants around the old Hisuian ancient Japanese surroundings, and maybe the different dews have different effects. That makes sense. It seems like something... Anyway, my whole point was there seems to be a new battle mechanic, which is the first new battle mechanic that we've seen in a mainline Pokemon series. Actually, would you call this one a mainline one?
Yes. Yeah. So they shook it up a little bit with Let's Go, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
Yeah.
Which was a remake of the original games, but instead of your turn-based battling, it was throwing a ball. A lot of people didn't like it. Richie didn't particularly like it.
Nope.
I thought it's fine. And then this one, they kind of shake it up in a similar fashion, I guess, as you would say. And yeah, there seems to be real-time action in amongst the battling. So for non-boss, so it looks like you're walking around the world and there are Pokemon wandering around, and then there are, I guess you call them like mid-boss Pokemon, which have angry red eyes and will kind of attack you on sight.
Yeah.
And then there are noble Pokemon, which I guess is where progression's locked behind. So these are the big bosses. And so just from the normal Pokemon walking around, it looks like you can either sneak up and try and catch them, engage them in battle with your party of 6 Pokemon, or distract them with fruit. There's like a number of different ways of going about it. And then for these boss fights, these alpha Pokemon, and in particular these noble Pokemon, I think one of them has been revealed so far, which is a new Scyther evolution, sorry.
Oh! I never realised it was a Scyther evolution.
Really?
Oh, no. I saw it and I thought, oh, you must be new. That's all.
Yeah, it's a Scyther evolution. So instead of it being steel and bug, like Sizer. It is Rock and Bug. A combo we've had many times before, and not a particularly good combo either.
No.
Anyway, so
not at all.
this I'd be surprised if this wasn't the first boss. Yeah, and as you say, you are doing a combination of trying to calm it down, dodging its attacks, occasionally having a bit of a battle, and then whittling down what looks like 3 or 4 different health bars before you presumably then catch it and move the story along.
Yeah.
And then the overall structure of this game looks completely different. It looks very much like, this is what people are comparing it to for a number of reasons, very much like a Monster Hunter type game. So you have a camp, there's lots of crafting involved. When you're out in the world, you are mining and picking fruit, and it looks like you're grabbing twigs and stuff to then craft the equipment that you need to throw these bombs and throw Pokeballs at them.
Dews.
These Jews. And instead of it being a story where you pretty much go from gym to gym until you've got them all, this one looks like it'll be based on lots of quests from various people. So, can you show me this Pokemon? And then the Pokedex. I don't know. In the last trailer they showed a couple of screens of the Pokedex, but it looks like for each species of Pokemon, there's hundreds of things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So learn what their favorite food is, see one doing a move, catch one with some fruit.
Well, you don't have to. No, God, you do. Never mind.
Yeah, because it wasn't quite clear whether you had to do them or not.
No, it's just basically a counter, so
Yeah.
you can see like how many times you've seen Poison Sting being done, which was the example they used.
Yeah.
I thought that was fine. All right, cool. At the end of the game, you can see how many times you saw Headbutt. Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Which reminds me, with that little detail, it reminds me of a bit of new Pokemon Snap. You know?
What bit?
The Pokedex. So instead of just, you've seen one, that's it, the Pokedex entry is complete.
Oh,
It's
right,
like-
but now you've seen one doing a jump or
Yeah.
looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then eventually you complete a Pokedex entry, and then you've got
Yeah,
how many
yeah.
species to that. Which is kind of cool. Although, as other people have pointed out, normally in a Pokemon game, when you get to end game or when you've finished collecting them all, normally you actively avoid getting into battles at all costs.
Yeah.
Whereas this one seems pretty focused on you catching loads and loads.
Well, I mean, it depends how many actually make it into the game.
Yeah, but just in a normal run of a Pokemon game, say Pokemon Brilliant Diamond that's just come out, you'd collect a Bidoof, maybe. You wouldn't catch 25 Bidoof unless you were a Bidoof fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I tend, like, when I was playing Sword and Shield, I was catching a lot of the same over and over. Not through, but mainly just because I would get rid of them all afterwards. So, like, the box mechanic was much easier for deleting the ones that you didn't really care for.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, in plenty of the... I suppose it depends on how you approach it. Like, for instance, like, there's been plenty of times where we've had to try and catch the same one over and over again to get the right nature. Or if they've got some kind of IV mechanic where they don't have the, like, the abilities, that perhaps the, what's it called?
Get your words out.
Oh God, Sword and Shield had the ability to just sort of bump everything up to max, all of the EVs and IVs and all that sort of stuff. If they don't have that in this game, then maybe there's more of an appeal to try and collect and breed the right one in the same fashion. If that mechanic's in there.
Yeah, or if they have they've had various radar and catching streak mechanics in the past. So if you did want a higher chance of having a very good IV Pokemon, you catch a certain number in a row without catching other ones.
Or there's another thing as well. They did mention that there is a level up mechanic of how much you've seen and done to give yourself access or increase your rank in this galaxy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy being the foundation that you're part of, or
Yep.
whatever group. But perhaps there's a similar mechanic, because if they've removed the turn-based element, maybe they've removed XP for the Pokemon, and perhaps their moves and things like that are related specifically to how many times you've seen or caught or done certain things with these Pokemon. But this is all conjecture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be quite wacky.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this game seems quite off-piste, so I wouldn't put it past them to remove the EXP mechanic.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is quite archaic in most cases.
But I think, I mean, it is fairly fundamental to the Pokemon formula, and this is what I'm interested to see. So although you can imagine, your what are typically early route Pokemon, right? So in a standard Pokemon game, it's your boring bird type, it's your boring normal type, and it's Bidoof and it's Shinx and it's whatever. Is how how do you end up leveling up your observations in your Pokedex book when it comes to Garchomps, for example, right? Because there aren't presumably hundreds of Garchomps running around in the same way that there are probably hundreds of Bidoofs running around.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
In order to level that up. So yeah, so as Richie indicated, and I think as we spoke about before in the podcast, one of the interesting things about this game is it's clearly doing something different. It's taking us to a region we've been to before twice now, in Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl and Shining Pearl. But we're back in time, so everything is, I'm going to say Edo period themed. I have no idea, probably very wrong. Samurai era-ish, I guess it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I think Edo's fine. But the thing is, it's not at the same time. So, like, you still got a professor, and he's got a bow tie and a tux on. And he's like, okay.
And he's still got a phone.
Yes.
Which acts as your, PDA device. But what they've said in trailers so far is that this is before Pokemon and humans lived together.
Yeah. So it is definitely set in the past.
Yeah.
But how far in the past and yeah. I mean, there has to be something in there. Like, here's an interesting thought. I know we have a new Pokédex that's Arceus themed.
Yeah.
I wonder if Rotom will make it into this game. And if so, since it's in the past, will he have things like an oven form?
Well, like an arbor form and what would an old version of a fan be?
An actual hand fan. My good God.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool. We have to have ancient technologies form Rotom. Yeah, like some kind of steam engine. The Pokeballs as well look like clockwork Pokeballs. So in the fourth movie, I think it was Pokemon Forever, where they travel back in time, Celebi being the time travel Pokemon. Was it Forever? I think it was.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I think we both cried when we watched it because the little boy they meet when they go back in time is Professor Oak, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
But the Pokeballs he had look like clockwork Pokeballs.
Yes.
So this looks similar.
Well, they look wooden and they look carved, and of course there's that whole apricorn mechanic as well.
Yeah. I got the other day. I got really. I couldn't remember. What was it? I couldn't remember either the word apricot or acorn. I just kept calling things apricorns, and whoever I was with was just taking the piss out of it. What earth are you on about apricorns? Apricorns. Apricorns. And I just couldn't see that wasn't the right word for whatever I was describing.
Yeah. Listen, do you not ever worry that, and maybe, if you ever have any issues with the sort of brain functioning, oh my god, I've already got it, that you're just going to completely mix up these things and just be like, well, I could just check my Pokédex and people just be like, what?
Yeah.
He's lost it. And it's like, well, it's so ingrained in my head.
Yeah. Because we've been doing it for 25 years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's arguably that's probably in there deeper than a lot of things which should really be in your brain more than apricorns or
absolutely
raspberries. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Apricorns. Apricorns? Apricorns.
Apricorns, you're right. It's apricorns. But yeah, the apricorn, I don't know, they kind of slightly brought it back in Sword and Shield, didn't they?
Yes, we had that horrible machine that you could waste apricorns on to maybe get a wacky ball thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing was it's Ruby and Sapphire the apricorns were in, wasn't it?
I know it's silver, gold and silver.
Gold and silver, yeah. So you could get different types of balls and different kinds of balls. Some of them I don't think even still exist in the game.
Yeah, they all do.
They all do?
With the exception of sports ball, I think, which you can only get from doing the bug hunt and Soul Silver and Heart Gold.
Alright, okay, cool. But yeah, the apricorns, you could turn them in and they would 1-to-1 ratio just turn directly into balls that you could use for catching things. Ultimately, you didn't care. You just made a lot of money and bought Ultra Balls and Dusk Balls and then moved on with your life.
Although I must say I've gotten worse because back on the Game Boy you never see your Pokeball ever again, but obviously in the 3D games you do get to see them, so I do get a little bit obsessed with trying to match the Pokemon to the Pokeball.
It was easier with that new thing where you go down the tunnel and everything is 100% catch rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
You go down the tunnel. Max Raid Adventures, is it called?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Go down the tunnel. Aye.
Go down the tunnel. So the format change here is we're going to a region that's back in time. What's really weird is they've already shown off a bunch of new Pokemon forms.
Yep.
And I doubt they will, but I really want them to explain how come, however many hundreds of years ago this was, people knew about Basculegion and Weirdeer. What happened? So when you go to the future, no one knows of these Pokemon anymore. Maybe they went extinct?
Yeah. I would say that's the case.
But then, how can an evolution go extinct but not...
Well, bear in mind that they might not have gone extinct in the same way as like a meteor hit them. They just basically have sexually reproduced out those features that we perhaps see in these forms now.
So you get that in real life with salamanders.
Yeah.
Like axolotls.
Like neoteny.
Like pedomorphism.
Yep. Sharpedomorphism.
And so you can induce them to turn into adults, which is really weird because they don't normally do it.
Well, no. What I was meaning more like, let's say we've got the white Stantler, or Weirdeer as he's called.
Weirdeer.
Yeah. Maybe due to a slight shift or drift in climate, he moves north, and the brown ones come in. The normal Stantler.
The brown ones.
I know. I heard it. Let me correct myself, and without
Professor Ritchie with a fascinating lecture on the biogeography of the Hisuian region across time.
Exactly. There may be a
That's
geological
when the brown
change.
ones came in. And the white ones are here, Nimir.
It's solid and it follows Pokemon logic, you know?
Yeah, but what, is there a collective forgetting that they ever existed?
No.
You know, like Professor whatever his face is, I forget what the Sinnoh one is. Like, exploring the Pokedex of this region is really important to give this critical mission to a 10-year-old.
Nobody said that it's
some librarian like, oh, hang on, actually, somebody did this 400 years ago.
I mean, like, you could also say, and it's not worth getting into the minutiae of this, because, okay, then how come in, Pokemon Red and Blue, why is Jigglypuff not a fairy type?
Well, because it was a fairy type, but they hadn't picked it out yet. They hadn't done the stats yet.
But how come it wasn't super effective against dragons?
Because it was, but no one knew it.
But it wasn't. It was actually not doing super effective moves.
More importantly than that, you should ask, like, why didn't they discover Pokemon breeding until 5 years later?
I mean, discover is also a pretty harsh word to put on. Oh, we put two of them together and we found an egg. We don't know what happened.
As they're
they've not made any discoveries there, and it looks like they're not even trying to discover.
As they're handing you the 1,000th egg that has hatched, that has been found in the daycare centre. Because you've been running up and down just collecting eggs off them.
We have no idea how it got there.
Total mystery. All we know is, give us 2 Pokemon.
Yeah.
We put them in the little creche area. Sometimes an egg turns up.
Yeah. Also, like, the course of evolution, and I'm doing air quotes, you can't see them, of Pokemon is also quite fluffy. So, like, I think it's perfectly understandable that however long the time was between Hisuian region and Sinnoh region, that Zoroark has gone from having white and red plumage to black plumage for whatever reason.
So you think those are in ancestral forms rather than alternative forms?
Yeah.
Interesting theory. And what about?
That was. I think that was my whole entire point. I didn't even think that wasn't the case. Sorry, I glossed over that to start off with and started talking about blah blah blah. No, that is definitely what I was thinking. Yeah.
So what about things like Basculegion? Because that evolves from Basculin.
I see what you mean. Because Basculin doesn't have an evolution. Well, it depends how it evolves as well.
Yeah, have you read the Pokédex entry for Basculegion?
No.
It's all about like when thousands of dead souls of Basculin come together.
Okay.
It evolves into. Let me read it directly.
I can't believe you've got the blooming Pokédex in. Oh, is this on the Pokemon website, yeah?
This is on the Pokemon website, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Basculin in the Hisui region can evolve into this Pokemon. It's a regional thing. This evolution occurs when a Basculin is possessed by the souls of other Basculin from its school that could not withstand the harsh journey upstream. Basculegion fights together with these souls which attack opponents as if with a will of their own.
And also you can ride it up the rivers.
You can ride it up.
Ride it up. Pure ride it, man.
Ride it up. Okay, so that explains that, maybe these new snowflake Basculin have it so easy they no longer go through the trauma of swimming upstream and dying in their hundreds to create a Basculegion.
Yeah, or maybe they just bred out the ability to suck the souls of their dead friends.
Maybe.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, also, like, you got Pokemon that evolve with an item, so maybe that item just isn't around. So I'm quite happy.
That is by far the most reasonable explanation yet. Yeah, it's probably just an item actually. Yeah, we've lost the
the
knowledge.
item isn't around anymore, or it has to be near a specific rock for it to evolve. You know, yeah.
And someone nicked the rock in 1826, and
Yeah.
they've never evolved since.
Yeah, so that is like, there are plenty of justifiable reasons for all of this, and we all know that the real reason is, ooh, pretty.
I mean, I'm happy, and I do wonder if there'll be if any of these new Pokemon which have been introduced, and then there are undoubtedly more into Arceus Legends, whether we'll ever see them again in other games. I hope so. Will they be transferable to other games?
I'm gonna say yes. Like, what if it doesn't happen now? There will be a compendium or remix, or there will be a whole coming together of all of these forms. Either it's going to be in Pokemon Home, or it will be in an actual playable game later on. But I would say that yes, but to transfer your Hisuian form to Sword and Shield, probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless down the road we get an expansion which allows them to come in as well.
3 years after launch.
Hey, look, I mean, it's games as a service now for the Sword and Shield. All they need to do is keep adding expansions to it with the new Pokemon, new mechanics, new things, and people will be quite happy.
Yeah, so this is... Well, I think we'll get on to a little bit later, but this is one of the things I want to talk about, because Pokemon's in a really weird place at the moment. So, if you look at the history of the games, Red, Yellow, Blue introduced the first 150, and then you get, Gold and Silver add another 100, blah, 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 so on, so on. And apart from a weird period of time just after Sapphire came out, before Fire Red came out, you've then been able to have all the Pokemon that you know about in existence in the current game. Up until, you may remember the National Dex issue,
Yes.
up until Sword and Shield, which was like,
Yeah.
you're not going to have all of them.
Yeah.
Then they added hundreds, I think, with the 2 expansions of Sword and Shield. So all of a sudden it wasn't so bad, because unless you're really unlucky, one of your favourites had been added in the expansion.
Yeah, also, like, I said this, and I don't know if it was pre-podcast or something like that, but everybody's knee-jerk reaction to, oh no, they're only adding X number, and it's like, of course they're gonna add more, and you're gonna have to pay for it. That is what this is gonna be. This is just like, look, there is X amount, and it's absolutely fine. It's creativity within constraints. You just have to choose these ones, and then you've got your team from there on in.
Yeah.
Adding more on and more in just mixes things up, and it makes it fun. I don't disagree with how they've done this.
No, well, it kind of made sense when the only Switch main series Pokemon games were Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu, right? It's just, here's the first 151 and Meltan and Melmetal. Then Sword and Shield was the first one. Was like, no, you can only have these ones, and it was a seemingly random smattering, right? So it wasn't just you're not getting any from this game. It was a random selection. Added some more with the DLC. Now we've got 3 Pokemon games on the Switch currently. So Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl come out. Obviously, they don't have. They are this weird time machine in which they pretend no Pokemon are from beyond the 4th generation are available. But now it's getting quite confusing as to
just to sort of put a pin, or at least
hang a lamp on.
No. Like Pokemon, Shining Pearl, Brilliant Diamond.
Yeah.
They can't transfer Pokemon in any fashion, correct?
Not currently, but
they can't go to home. You can't transfer anything into them.
Not yet, but everyone thinks that after Arceus comes, there's a big update in February, which will add home compatibility to Brilliant Diamond and Arceus Legends.
I mean, I can understand Arceus Legend, but Brilliant Diamond, I mean, who cares? It's almost pixel for pixel remake of the original one. Let's just leave it.
At the moment, it's nigh incomplete. It's nearly impossible to complete the Pokédex.
Because you have to trade?
Because they haven't finished the online services.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. It's not what they said it was going to be. There's been an update to the Union Room, but it's not. So if you have a friend, I guess you have to have a couple of friends, through trading you can complete the Pokédex. But if you're playing on your own, as I am at the moment, it's incredibly difficult / impossible to.
Okay. Okay. No. I get that. Okay, that's fine. To be honest, I kind of, it's probably my own dislike of how they handled Diamond and Pearl, but I don't even consider it part of the main series because it has got no connectivity or tie-in at all. Go is more part of the original series than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl at this point.
Yeah. Well, the only connectivity that they had was if you have saved data from these other games, you'll get an extra thing. You get Mew and Jirachi.
But yeah, my point is just that more that it's like it's a non-entity at this point, and I'm deliberately trying to play this one down because it just feels like it isn't necessary. It's just more of like, oh, by the way, we've brought a remake of this game, but we're actually gonna go and do something more fun with Gen 4. Here is a Gen 4 in the past version of, Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Arceus is, and it's got proper updated graphics, and it is using the Sword and Shield engine and stuff like that.
Updated graphics. But what I'm saying is
more so than Diamond and Pearl.
Updated graphics.
Yeah.
They are up-to-date graphics. I don't know what you mean.
Well, like
they're
Diamond
old graphics.
Yeah, they are. Diamond and Pearl just looks like what's it called? Let's Go. And it actually peered back than Let's Go as well because it didn't have the animals floating about in the grass. Animals. The animals.
Anyway,
What's the name of the series? Is it Animals Blue, Animals Red?
If only they had a name for these weird animals that are the central mechanic to the whole game. My point was, if you're somebody relatively new to Pokemon, say in the last 10 years, it looks a bit crazy because if you're like, okay, my favorite Pokemon is Nidoking or something. Oh look, there's Nidoking in Pokemon Let's Go. That's great. Oh, I can't have Nidoking in Sword or Shield. I don't think that's true. I think you can, but imagine you couldn't.
But
and then you can have it in Brilliant Diamond and Shining. But it's weird. You don't need, or there should be a wall chart of, here's which games these Pokemon appear in. There's still a whole bunch that don't appear in any. And then from what we've seen of Pokemon Legends Arceus, it looks like it's going to be doing a similar thing. So it's not. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this as well. It's not just the same decks as Pokemon Diamond. We know that because we've got some Gen 5 Pokemon in there. We've got some new ones in there. So is it going to be Gen 4 Plus? Is it going to be its own unique weird selection like Pokemon Sword and Shield was?
I think it's going to be a flavour of Gen 4. So strongly relying on most of the Gen 4 up to Gen 4 Pokemon. So probably including 1, 2, and 3 because Gen 4 did that anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it'll have the stars of those 4 generations, and then probably a few other sensible ones just to have around there, because who's to say, I'm trying to think of a random Pokemon from Gen 7. Think of one for me, Farley.
Scatterbug.
Yeah. So who's to say there weren't Scatterbugs kicking about there, and they all get eaten by the Garchomps,
And then the only place you find them is on a insular refugia in Alola region.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so it doesn't really, like, there might have been, it'd be cool if we got some Alolan variants there as well. Alolan forms. But no, look, I think it's going to be, I'd be quite happy if, there was only, like, say, 150 Pokemon. I'd choose that number because Gen 1, obviously. I'd be happy if it was a smaller selection, but you know what? There's a bit more love and attention, and they've got full evolution lines, or they've got different cool new evolutions, new art, obviously. So, yeah, I'd be quite happy with that. I'm not happy the Bidoof is still in it, put it that way.
Well, this is the weird thing. We've just come off, most people have just come off of Diamond and Pearl, or most Pokemon fans, should we say. Where we've had our fill, because in particular, at least it's sort of faithful to the region at that point. Particular Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl are really bad because the first 24 routes you're still fighting Bidoofs and Starlies. Most of that game is Bidoofs, Starlies, and Geodudes. All of which we've seen in these new trailers. Whereas, just give us a P-Dub or something different, so we're not hunting the same 3 normal types.
Well, we got the Braviary, which is quite good. That's dark and flying, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the Rowlet is going to be. Whether it's, because all the options on the table, whether it's a normal Rowlet that evolves into Hisuian Braviary, whether we get a Hisuian Rowlet, not Rowlet.
Yeah, I know, I was completely lost. Rowlet is Decidueye's.
Yeah. What's the Braviary's?
Vullaby?
No, that's the Vulture one.
Oh shit. Oh god. Rufflet.
Well done. Good ball. It was nowhere in my mind.
I'm impressed with myself as well.
So whether you get, a Syrian Rufflet like you do the Alolan Sandshrew that evolves into an Alolan Sandman? Sandslicer? What does Sandshrew evolve into?
Sandslash. Yeah. Like, will the Prevos evolve into something different?
Or will it just be a regional thing like Alolan Raichu, where you have to just be in that region to evolve into it?
Yes, yeah. I actually quite like that lineage better, where you can still have the familiarity of Pikachu, because they weren't going to fuck about with Pikachu, were they?
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
And how sad must Raichu be? It's just like, on the chart of recognizable Pokemon, your pre-evolution is so much more recognizable than you, yet you are the evolved and more superior version.
Yeah.
Even like when you were playing the game and you're like, but I have to evolve my Pikachu so that it's actually got better stats.
Yeah.
That's a bit of shit.
Yeah.
And then you get stuck with Raichu. Okay.
Or even, Pokemon Yellow kind of, it's like, oh yeah, if you evolve it, then he no longer follows you around. You can't talk to him. Well, I'm not evolving him then, am I?
I know, but at least you get the light ball quite early on, which yeah,
that's true.
Which justifies that.
And then to rub the salt into it a little bit. Pichu is adorable and much loved, and gets 2 different forms. Remember the spiky-eared Pichu?
Oh yeah.
Then Pikachu gets its own Z-move crystal. Then it gets its own Dynamax form, and Raichu doesn't. And then it gets an Alolan form, which is arguably just the better Raichu. So yeah.
Yeah, the Alolan form, is much cooler. The whole surfing on the tail and psychic type as well.
So OG Raichu. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, like on a chart of like all of the Pokemon from, best to worst for whatever factors that make them best or worst.
Yeah.
Pikachu's going to be nearing the top, but Raichu is definitely going to be in the realms of the bottom end of that.
I think firmly hanging out with all the middle evolutions that no one remembers.
Yeah.
Groovile.
Groovile.
And all the pupa stages of bug Pokemon.
Yes. Oh,
nestled
God.
firmly between, Kakuna and Cascoon or something.
Ooh, Cascoon, good shout.
So yeah. Interesting to see what the selection is going to be. And it could be that the trailers are pretty open about the fact that there's, as you suggest, mostly Gen 4 with a few surprises. We know that Zoroark's in there, we know that Basculin's in there, we know that Rufflet's in there, so it's at least some.
Maybe Arceus is in there?
Yeah, there's Arceus.
Arceus.
4.
Arceus, we've got to get it right.
Arceus is Gen 4, right?
Yeah. Yeah?
Mythic. Yeah, the Mythic. That
Yeah.
They never gave to us here in the UK.
Yeah.
They did eventually.
You get Arceus and what's the other one? Because you had oh no, that was a different storyline. That was X and Y, wasn't it?
So your Gen 4 Mythics are Manafi, Darkrai, Shaman, and Arceus.
Arceus, okay. So I was thinking Darkrai. Oh, Darkrai might be quite cool. Yeah, I hope he's all Hisuian.
He's definitely not. They're definitely in the game because they're if you have save files from Brilliant Diamond and Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Sword and Shield, you get Shaman and Darkrai.
So you're telling me I have to buy the Brilliant Pearl to get Darkrai and Shaman?
No, one of them is Shaman is for. So one of them's for Sword and Shield. One of them is Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Oh my god, that is so frustrating. Because if I get them straight off the bat, I'm a happy bunny. I've never had a reason or ability to start with Darkrai.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm gonna have to spend money in that stupid game.
£50 DLC.
£50 DLC to get Darkrai.
To get Darkrai. Hang on, you might be in luck. Darkrai. It said that active during the night. Oh, come on. Pre-order. Come on, it's the week of launch. Why is this not front and center? Not early purchase bonus. Not digital version. Not early purchase. Who knows?
I've got the early. I bought the physical version of this to be delivered on Friday. Just on a side note.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Also went for the physical version. I can't find this. Yeah, I think maybe Darkrai probably is brilliant.
Okay, well, either way, whatever it turns out to be, I hope that I can get Darkrai in another fashion as well.
Yeah, maybe.
What I would say is, for some reason I was thinking, I was mixing up Giratina and Darkrai. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because I always think Giratina and Arceus together. I don't know why. Or Arceus.
Yeah.
Are you sure Arceus is Gen 4?
Yeah, it is. You remember there's the trilogy of films all about Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina fighting, and then every now and then Arceus would turn up.
Well, that's all Gen 5 you just mentioned.
No, it's not. Gen 5 Unova, man. It's Victini and New York and Trash Bags. Trust me, I'm playing Gen 4 now. And this Gen 4 game is called Legends Arceus.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, of course, because Gen 5 is the knockoff Palkias and Dialgas, which
It's
is Reshiram and
yes.
Zekrom.
For the
Yeah.
reasons
Oh, man. It's too late at night. Oh. Rufflet and Braviary are Gen 5 Pokemon.
Yeah, see, that's what I said. Zora.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Rufflet, Basculin are all Gen 5.
Yeah, so we're getting a smattering of other ones, but Zorua is a fan favourite. Well, furry fan favourite. Yeah, okay, cool. Never mind. I shall shut up. Clearly, I have done nowhere near enough. What's it called? Research for this.
Okay, so you get Shaman for Pokemon Sword, Pokemon Shield.
Yeah.
And you get some clothes, some Shaman clothes. That's nice.
Okay.
If you've got Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, you get a Pikachu mask or an Eevee mask.
Oh, what rubbish.
And if you've got Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl, it's Darkrai. And yeah.
Right, I'm going to have to find an eBay copy of it.
Yeah, I don't know to what extent you can just borrow someone else's card and save 5 minutes into the game, and then it will say, "Oh, you've got a save file." We've not
Literally
really
looking to buy it right now.
just for Darkrai. Why is it that Darkrai fucks you up every time? Last time you had the Platinum Challenge.
The Platinum Challenge was worth it. It was good.
The other thing we don't know about this game, again we've talked about this before, lots of people are hoping it's open world, completely one big open world like the wild area.
It definitely won't be.
No, it will be again from the trailer today. On the front of the Pokedex has different regions, so it looks like it will be much like Monster Hunter. There'll be different areas which you can go to, which will be different biomes, probably similar to the biomes from Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Yeah.
But it looks, and unless they're quite crafty with their camera angles, it looks huge.
Yeah.
And the topography is quite interesting. So it's not large flat areas a la Sword and Shield. There's hummocks and bumps and of course everywhere's potentially somewhere for you to have a battle, which is quite interesting, I think, because you've got so much freedom of movement during battles.
Well, and it just depends on what is nearby and what could attack you, and I'm guessing it'll be same as Sword and Shield. You go to certain areas at certain times, it's going to have certain Pokemon kicking about.
Yeah, but unlike the previous Pokemon games where that would just change the background to your battles, because it's happening in real time and in 3D.
Oh yeah, there will be no switch to battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'll be, you'll be having
what you mean. Yeah.
battles on cliff tops or battles, on river edges or, which is kind of cool. And the topography will limit, how you dodge and how you roll and where you get trapped.
Yeah.
Which is something completely new. And again, very familiar fields of the kind of Monster Hunter type games. Any other? I mean, we'll see how wrong we are with some of these predictions.
That's the whole thing. Then we really should stipulate that a million times over.
Yeah,
we are merely hearsaying. Hearsaying?
Theory crafting.
Hypothesizing. Yeah, hypothesizing.
What do you reckon? I mean, not that it's your decision to make. This is looking very DLC-able. As a region, different biome.
I think it's going to be a standalone spin-off, but it will be the first of many spin-offs depending on its popularity. Because like I say, if it only has like 150 Pokemon, but you're allowed to sort of play about with and make pretty new versions of these Pokemon, Pokemons. I did not mean to pluralize. I apologise. What that means is the next Pokemon game, which could be Pokemon. What's a Gen 5 mythical guy?
Isn't Gen 5 the one that has way too many?
No, Gen 5 is the dragon that can use the injectors and turn himself into Curium and Reshiram.
Isn't Gen 5 also like Genesect, Meloetta?
Yeah, okay. There we go. Let's just call it Pokemon Legends Genesect. So it can be set in space or in some digital form, and we'll see more, digital themed ones, or perhaps we'll get a more industrial one like the New Yorkie one, and we'll see more steampunky Pokemon and things like that, like your what's his face, the wheezing form Galarian one.
Yeah.
Things like that. I'd like to see themes on that rather than new Pokemon. We're just starting to see more fun variations of them, and hopefully can be sent back to the main game, which will be whatever version of Sword and Shield we're on at the moment.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see, because if we can just have Hisuian forms of Zoroark kicking about, and I don't know, Megas being brought back into Sword and Shield, suddenly it becomes a kind of a hub for every other.
I think they're done with Sword and Shield completely.
I really don't. I think that Sword and Shield has become sort of the base product, and I think we will continue to see expansions of that over and over the next few years.
Oh man, okay, crazy theory. I think they're done. I think they're wrapping it up.
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing briefly somebody else's theory about there being a Gen 9.
Yeah.
And I don't think I care about a Gen 9 at the moment, because as you were saying, there are people who are new to the series, and so they haven't had the time or the investment in some of the older Pokemon. So a new version of Rhydon, is going to spark a bit more joy with the newer people, rather than, like we know Rhydon, we've seen him a million times since Gen 1, and we've owned a different million versions of him, but we've never had a steampunk version of him or whatever. I think that is a more fun way for Pokemon to go, rather than here, have another 150 Pokemon, and look, here's another normal type for you to get really pissed off with.
Yeah, and it was, I think both you and I felt in Ultra Sun, which is when the Pokedex was 800 odd.
Yeah.
That was a slog, and by the time you've caught Pidgey and Piddo and Starly and Swellow, how many more normal flying
but
birds?
There's so much more room in the Pokedex as well for actual evolutions or pre-evolutions and things like that. There's crimes that have been committed for Pokemon that should have evolutions. I'm not talking about Dunsparce, but yeah, there are definitely Pokemon that deserve a little bit more love and treatment. Even like the Galarian forms of like Stunfisk. How cool was that? Like turning him into a trap.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. More of that. I like more of that, and I hope that that's where Legends is going, and we're going to see more different forms in that kind of fashion. And yeah, like stuff like that. Like there must be about 1 million standalone evolutions that we've wanted.
Yeah.
Different versions of.
I mean, the other concern that the community has raised is that, and I'm not too sure how important this is, because I think people involved in or interested in competitive Pokemon battling is a niche part of the main Pokemon audience. Even though, it's supported as an esport, and there are waves and waves of online competitions, but people are asking the question. Well, we can't keep competitive in Sword and Shield. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, out of the gates, it was this competitive is not here. This is not the place we will be doing battling. It's not looking like, we could be wrong, it's not looking like it's in Arceus either. So I think that's what some people are kind of hankering for Gen 9.
I think that, let's forget about Gen 9, but let's think about finishing the Pokédex in Gen 8. If you have a full national Pokédex with whatever expansions, including perhaps the ability to have megas and other variants of battles, it suddenly does become the competitive version that people use.
But where would you be playing it?
In Sword and Shield.
No. No way. Okay.
Why?
I think they're done with that game. I think there's after these,
okay. Put that out your mind for now, because there's no basis for you think they're done with that game. But okay, let's open up the possibility of, let's say they bring out an announcement in February that at the end of this year, quarter 3, the latest patch for Sword and Shield comes out, and this is the remainder of the national decks. What does that suddenly make Sword and Shield?
Dreamland. Yeah, go on. What does it make it?
It makes it a full version of the game. It makes it the final version of Gen 8. And it actually has all of the Pokemon in it. And suddenly that becomes a viable competitive field because it has everything in there. And you know what? Bring with it Megas. Bring with it the... whatever else, the ability to have battles that don't involve Gigantamax. Suddenly that Sword and Shield has everything there, but it's just not in there right now. All it needs to do is add the extra Pokemon and add some extra features in there, and suddenly it is the competitive game.
I think that's no small ask. But anyway, it's prediction time.
I think it's a perfectly fine ask, and in fact, I am still sure it will happen. From day one that Sword and Shield came out, I was like, yeah, all the Pokemon will eventually be available on this generation.
Including Pokemon we don't even yet know about. They'll come back. They'll be made.
No, I mean, of course I can't.
Yeah, no, but we're talking, yeah.
What I'm talking about is from Gen 8, and it's like Pokemon Arceus Legends is Gen 8. It's just got new Pokemon that have come out a little bit later. That's all. I'm happy that there's new Pokemon still being involved in Gen 8. But what I'm saying is, from the start of Sword and Shield till the end of Sword and Shield's life cycle, which is still undefined, you seem to think it's going to end soon. But if the end of Gen 8 cycle is, it's still got another couple more years in it, all it needs is another DLC pack, which they've shown that you can do, and we'd still pay money for. All it needs to do is add those extra Pokemon in, and then we have Gen 8 complete. And along with it, not only do we have the Galarian forms, we're also been given the Hisuian forms, and who knows, let's just say that this next DLC includes the Alolan forms as well. So you get the full range of the Pokemon available. And I think that is not a big ask. I think that's incredibly doable.
Well, Alolan forms are already in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but shows my knowledge of the game. But but yeah, like there are other forms that perhaps aren't in there already, which could just come along with that DLC.
Yeah,
and I think that's perfectly reasonable, and I do not think that they're done with Sword and Shield. I just think that we've had a couple of pit stops, including, look, here I have this spin-off game with new mechanics, and you know what? Once you've caught them all, you can transfer them to the future using our special home future transferring device, whatever It's better than the Dream Machine or whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of the transfer mechanics over the years.
Yeah. But I think it's it'll happen, and we'll be able to use Hisuian Zoroark and Sword and Shield. And,
Okay.
Yeah. But, sorry, I'm quite passionate about that because
I know. I think it's an outside bet. I really do. I really do think. And I don't think you're wrong. In principle, it's all there. It's the wisest thing to do. But I think it will be the perception that they have to put out a big new game. In order to keep keep turning a profit and not for stocks to tank, even though what you're suggesting is probably more reasonable. However, I think here ends the future. Looking forward to the future. One I want to end on quickly. It's not be that quick. There's quite a few of them. As I mentioned before, we're in this weird place with Pokemon, and not all of them are in all games. And so at the moment, there's 66 Pokemon which are still in the wind. So even if you own the 3 latest main series Pokemon games, these Pokemon are not in it.
Are these Pokemon, when you talk about main series, are you talking about even Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl?
Yeah, so those are all main series games. Let's Go is a main series
How about
game.
ones that are actually transferable to home? Does that not make more sense? Because I feel like, as I said before, with Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond, what's the point if it doesn't connect to everything else?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I think I'm being quite a dick about this, but like Gen 8 Dex is the current Dex versus the national Dex. Is that basically what you're doing together, or is it...
No, because the Gen 8 Dex has lots of gaps.
Yeah.
So what I'm calling the Gen 8 Dex is first 150. Well, no, the first 4 gens, right? Because you can either find some of them in Pokemon Sword and Shield, Gen 1 in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and first 4 gens in...
But you can transfer the Gen 1 ones from Let's Go to Sword and Shield, yeah?
Yeah.
But you can't do that with Diamond and Pearl.
Not currently. So there's a
weird... your wording of being able to catch them is, I can catch them, but there's a few that I can only catch in a game that can't transfer to anything else.
No, these are ones that you cannot catch in any of those games.
Okay.
Do not exist.
Yep.
And whether or not you think they will be or should be in Arceus Legends. Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Okay, good. Let's batter through a few of the All-Stars on there.
So we know one of them is it, but the other 2 Gen 5 starters. So Snivy, Servine, Superior, Tepic, Pignite, Emboar.
Emboar is not in the Gen 8 Dex at all yet.
Nope.
Okay. Poor Emboar. I got a shiny one.
Yeah, me too. Pokemon Go. Superior bothered?
No. Superior bothers me. Like, it actually loses arms. It freaks me out.
Well, I think it justifies. I think it's like, because it's kind of, Snivy, Servine, Superior. So it's like a snooty Pokemon.
Yeah.
And to me, its evolution is kind of rewarding it for being like an uppity twat. It's like, well, lose your arms then. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Just become a giant snooty snake. See who cares.
Yep.
Samurott, we know, is in the game. It's one of the starters.
Yep.
Watchog and Patrat.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. With the weird sort of hypnotism eyes.
Yeah, they're based on New York construction men.
Oh, okay.
Do you think they have... I don't think they fit in ancient Japan.
No, I'm going to say no. But maybe for the...
Especially with Bidoof as well. Yeah.
Maybe for the industrial spin-off that they do.
So after the jungle expansion, Sword and Shield will get the urban such.
Yeah.
Okay, the elemental monkeys, Simisage, Simisear, Simipour, which I'm quite glad we've not had because they are shit.
They're awful. Yeah, I mean, it's like here you can make 3 choices, or a choice from 3 Pokemon at the start of the game:
Yeah.
fire, water, or grass.
Yeah.
And do you know what? You can make that same choice again with the monkeys.
But because I think these are the Pokemon they gave those mixing moves to, which I've never seen used successfully. You know, do you know the moves I'm talking about?
No.
Oh god, this is such bad for the podcast. Pledge. There we go. Fire pledge, water pledge, grass pledge.
Oh yeah, the pledge. Yeah.
And I think these 3 monkeys are what pledges were invented with. Could be a
No, it's possible. Because I think
misread.
maybe a few Pokemon got the pledges, but I think the whole point of learning how the pledge worked was by getting those monkeys from the waiter dudes or around there.
Yeah. So if you used grass pledge with water pledge, it would create a sort of like a terrain before terrains. And then if you used all 3 in triple battles, you'd kind of do a move that would take an 1/8 of their damage as well as reducing enemy speeds.
I mean, I'm excited.
I know, but it was so annoying because it was such a pain in the ass to get all 3.
Yeah. And also, you're just gimping yourself by having those 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, just look at their base stats. 75 HP, 98 attack, 63 defense, 98 special attack, 63 special defense, 101 speed. Awful.
Yeah, like, just, yeah.
Yeah. This one I feel really sad for because there's no good reason. Blitz on Zebstrika.
Okay. Yeah, no, there is no real good reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In fact, there was so few electric Pokemon in Sword and Shield for a while as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zebstrika. And what's really, I mentioned it in the blog, one of the blog posts reviewing the artwork for Pokemon card, is there is a Blitzel Pokemon card which shows it clinging onto a lump of ice with, you know, the great tree in Pokemon Sword and Shield
No.
in the
Okay.
background. Yeah,
Wow.
kind of suggesting like, oh yeah, they nearly made it into the game,
Yeah.
but not. They drowned off the coast.
Lovely.
Yeah. The next one, Liavani line. Liavani.
What's the final evolution? Or is that
Liavani, yeah.
is,
Swaddle,
Lilligant.
Liavani.
No. Okay,
Huh?
yeah.
Lilligant's in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I'm just mixing up the grass Pokemon. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But, I mean, there you go. Lilligant's in there. You know, what more do you really need?
Well, like Liavani's bug grass.
Is Roserade in,
Yes,
yeah.
Swanna.
What?
Swanna.
Wow, okay. I mean, obviously I've taken lots of pictures of it in Pokemon Snap.
They're trying to get that fucking mission. Yeah, I mean, Swanna. I can see Swanna in feudal Japan.
Oh, I forgot that's what we were doing. I was just
you were just rating them. Nah,
yeah, pretty much.
nah.
Yeah, like fucking monkeys. No, I don't care. Actually, yeah, like you've got those monkeys that kick about in the hot baths.
It's true, actually.
Yeah. You could.
So maybe
see
if you ignore Simisage and you just have Simisear and Simipour hanging around.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a good shout.
There we go.
Oh god.
Okay, Swanna, in or out? Would you like to see them?
I'm gonna say Swanna out. I like. Yes, you could probably do something. Nah, in fact, Swanna in. Because if you think of like Zoroark's design, you
Yeah.
know, that wispy sort of thing with the red streaks, you could do exactly the same thing for Swanna.
Yeah, you could, like the Japanese prints of cranes and things like that.
Yes,
Perfect.
exactly like
Perfect.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Dealing and Swordsbuck.
I mean, like, they are just like. If you didn't tell me that Weird Deer was like related to Stantler, it could easily be Deerling or Sawsbuck that were the pre-evolutions of Weird Deer.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But I think, again, on the Japan theme, you've got the Cherry Blossom Swordsbuck.
Of course, yes, that's a very good shout, yeah. But it would have to be spring the whole year round.
Well, maybe, a microclimate, a region where there's a microclimate and you can only get the
Yeah.
Sakura Swordsbuck and screw the rest.
Yeah.
Including the worst one. I think autumn's the worst one, right? Summer's nice and green, winter's cool and white, spring is the Cherry Blossom,
No,
and then
I
autumn's
think-
like, meh.
I think autumn and spring are the two best ones. I think summer and winter are a bit more predictable.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Right. Aloma Mola.
Aloma Loma, that's the big heart fish thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the sunfish one.
Yeah. I mean,
It was the... I got a lot of time for Aloma Mola because it was the Ordino Chansey meal tank, and instead of making it another boring, normal and fairy, they just went, just have a pink, fat water one this time.
yeah. But does it fit into Japan? Or-
Yeah, not so much.
No, I don't think it needs to be. Nah.
Okay. Dynamo Electros.
Yes. And the reason that I want that is because it looks like sort of an ancient Japanese dragon monster, and all it needs to do is like its weird lamprey mouth. It just needs to have a bit more of a dragony look down the back of it.
Yeah.
And it's a good fit in there. And plus, I really like lamprey. I don't know why.
Yeah, I really like Electros. Everything about it, I think, is the weird design, the cool typing.
Yeah.
It's a cool Pokemon. I'm kind of a bit bummed out that can't currently, the last time you could catch one was probably X and Y. Is that right?
X and Y was Lumi. Yeah, I guess so.
Oh no, I think you can get Electros.
Electros.
Oh yeah, you can get it by doing the scanning shit in Sun and Moon.
Oh, okay.
Which nobody did. Meloetta is a mythic, so I'm going to skip her. Chestnut. Quilladin and Chespin.
No, I don't like those guys. But I suppose you could make them samurai-ish.
Yeah, of course. He's the big fat samurai guy, right? As well as
Yeah.
Emperor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brass and fighting is cool. Fennekin breaks in Delphox.
I think that can fit in there. Like, they love their sort of the Japanese. I know they. I know, but there is a huge love for foxes, especially mythology-wise. I mean, you see that in Ninetales, and you see it with
Zorak, Nickit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then those are nice, elegant kind of Japanese mythology foxes, right? Whereas Fennekin is the very kind of lumpy, ugly European tradition, right? Because it's witchcraft and all that stuff.
I still think it's. I mean, all you need to do is change it a little bit from a witch to, I don't know, put a basket on its head or something. I don't know.
I've just unlocked the head basket for Ghost of Tsushima, so it's a good shout.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And then I'll be amazed. Greninja.
Oh, wow.
Yeah?
Wow.
I know.
Just not in.
No? This is what I mean by, if you've been playing Pokemon since whenever Sword and Shield came out, you tell your friends these rumors about like, oh yeah, did you know you could get this cool frog ninja Pokemon? Nah.
Wow, because Greninja is a fan favorite. Is it not like there's like Ash's Greninja that you could get in Sun and Moon and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I mean, very clearly, very obviously, very much should be in.
Yeah.
Legends.
Then we've got Vivian, Spupa, and Scatterbug.
That's the Firebug one, isn't it? No.
That's the 126 different Pokedex numbers.
Oh, yes, the butterfly. Yeah.
Butterfly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, make a Hisuian one. I mean, that's so easy. They have butterflies in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, there already is like a Rising Sun, 2 Rising Sun Vivians, I think. But that might be a good shout, actually, just to introduce one new Vivian form rather than having to come up with a way to find all 26 or that trading bollocks again. Okay, Vivian, yes. Instead of any one of the other bloody butterflies we've had 100 times.
Yeah.
Leo and Pyro.
Pyroars, that's the...
It's the lion with the mane
but,
without the mane.
I mean, I don't really see lions in Japanese history.
Okay. Also, fire and normal, just rubbish.
I know, like, why it has normal type and just befounds me.
Befounds me too, Richie.
Yeah.
Flabébé, Flabette, Florges.
Florges. Oh. Yeah, sort of like the fairy flower type thing. Yeah.
Pure fairy. Do you remember we wrote on that post-it note that one time?
Pure fairy.
Florges is pure fairy. When we were doing the battle tower and
yeah. I would like to see Florges back in there because it had its own story, the Flabébé story for the DLC.
Weird giant man. Yeah. Again though, 5 different colours. Can't be bothered.
Wow, I mean, I don't care about the different colours. Just give it a Hisuian colour, like red and white. They seem to like that.
Again. Skiddo and Go-Go.
The creators of...
Skiddo and Go-Go.
Bothered.
I think I mentioned this before. I feel bad for them because...
You feel bad for them because...
They've not been in a game since X and Y.
Yeah.
They weren't in Sun and Moon.
But we got the sheep ones. It does seem silly that we didn't get Go-Goats at the same time.
Sheep and goats, yeah. So you've got Mary, Skiddo, and...
meaning the
most
recent ones, yeah.
Yeah, have all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Have a team of pure goats. Furfrou.
Furfrou. Remind
The
me.
dog.
Oh.
The poodle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, such an easy one to add in. Just give it a haircut.
It already has a Kabuki haircut.
Well, there you go.
Just Kabuki for Furfrou.
Yeah.
You go to the Furfrou man, and he gives you the option of all 7 or however many, and then if you pick anyone other than the Kabuki one, it's like, nah, mate.
Yeah.
Nah, mate.
No, the 7 choices are just Kabuki.
Hooper. Who knows? We might get Hooper. Then Picky Peck, Trumbeak, and Toucannon.
They're all very Alolan tropical.
They're too exotic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Too tropical, yeah. Young Goose and Gumshoes. Too Trumpy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna bring them, nah, I don't see them being in there either.
Maybe they should do 17 different DLCs, which is just that type. So you can get the normal type DLC, which gives you an island, which is nothing but Bidoofs and Ratatars and Yungoos and Centrets for days.
God. But what about the dual typings?
Well, it depends on well, you get me neither. Let's just be generous.
Yeah.
Okay, Crabola and Crabominable. Crabominable.
Oh, that's an odd one to not have in there.
I know. These
But-
all are.
Yeah, there's the boxing crab. In fact, no. Yeah, like crabs are very, very Japanese seafood.
Yeah. So you've got the hot pools where the monkeys are hanging out, and then
Yeah,
in the area outside the hot pools in the snow, you've got the Crabominables.
but you can maybe make them more like soft shell crabs rather than maybe change their typings a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting in ice,
Yeah.
they have to be fighting in poison.
Maybe not poison for typically eaten food.
Fighting in fairy.
Yeah, go on fighting in fairy.
Fighting fairy.
We know what it would be. It'd be fighting in water. And we know it.
Good, yeah. As long as it's not fighting in fire, that's fine. A Richie favourite, Oricorio.
Oricorio. Again, tropical.
Too tropical.
Yeah.
Well, you've got
But you do have the ghost form, which is very Kabuki-esque.
Kabuki-esque. Sensu style. Is that the one?
Sensu, yeah.
Yeah. The fan dance. Yeah. Okay. Again. Chuck it in, but you can only.
yeah. What are your 4 choices?
Yeah.
Sensu.
Minior, my heart. I love Minior.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I don't know how you would sweeten it.
In the night time when you go to the volcano, because it used to occur on the volcano in Alola, right? You go
Yeah.
to the big volcano.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming there might be a Fuji-style volcano kicking about, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
streaming down. Last 2, you'll be happy to know. Kamala,
the hugging the log Pokemon, but the log might actually be the Pokemon, not the forever asleep koala thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that-
actually a really cool. There's loads of episodes about it in the anime. Very cool.
yeah. I don't see a koala fitting in, and unless they turn it into a red panda, and it's awake and always carries around a log.
Maybe just a red panda form.
Yeah. Do they have a red panda Pokemon? They don't.
Stuffle kind of.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Meh.
Do you know its ability, Comatose?
Yes. Ish. No, remind me.
Tried to style it out. It acts as if it is affected by the sleep status condition. All special effects of moves based on the sleep status condition affect this Pokemon, such as Snore, Sleep
Yeah.
Talk. Working from the Pokemon with Comatose and double damage from Hex and Wake Up Slap, G-Meter and Nightmare, and even abilities such as Bad Dreams will activate. This Pokemon can still attack. So it's just permanently asleep. Weird.
Quite a cool Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right, last one.
Base stats. Who remembers this? Bruxish.
Bruxish. Bruxish, is it a fish?
Yeah, it's like the really ugly parrotfish type with the teeth.
Oh my god, I just had to Google it. Yes.
Water and psychic.
Yeah, let's have Alomola and Bruxish.
We make a change from fucking Magikarp. You know, let's just have no Magikarp in one game.
Yes, agreed. But Gyarados, everybody loves Gyarados, and
No.
you cannot have a Japanese style thing without Gyarados.
But can we just not do something else? Do it reversey Percy, so the Hisuian form of Magikarp's really good and it evolves into a really bad Gyarados.
I don't know.
There we go.
You have to have Gyarados. But yeah, okay, cool.
So those are the Pokemon we've not seen for a long time. Maybe we'll see some of them in Arceus Legends. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, the people who played the leaked version.
Yeah, and presumably the makers as well. And, you know, all the people who work in Game Freak, probably all the people who work in HR.
Yeah.
Probably
Did the QA.
Probably some of the boyfriends and girlfriends of everyone who works there who are also interested in it.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yep.
Guess some game journalists have probably had hands on already. I think that's it.
Brilliant.
So aside from those, who knows what we'll end up with?
Well, yeah. Well, just give it a couple more days.
I know. I am excited.
Okay, so that guy's a maniac.
Why'd he ugly fish teeth bite me?